Hundreds of thousands of our nation's veterans all waiting for health care from the VA. And more may have died while waiting than we previously ever thought. That's all according to a new Inspector General's report. Here to help us take a closer look at the issues in the report is Florida Congressman Jeff Miller. He is the chairman of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. Chairman, good to have you with us again today.
Shannon, it's good to be with you.
Listen, I got to tell you, though, you and I have had this conversation many times. It feels like a broken record. You may feel the same. But this report now saying some 300,000 veterans may have died while sitting on a waiting list. To everyone across the country and across the aisle, both sides, this is completely unacceptable. How does it change?
Well, it is unacceptable because these people weren't even in the system. They were trying to get into the system. We found, based on whistleblower complaints early last year, that there probably were 200,000 veterans that had died while waiting to get into the system. Now we find that that number may be above 300,000 people. Actually, there's almost 1 million numbers in backlog right now, people just trying to get into the system so that they can try to get the health care that they've earned.
Yeah, I got to say to you, my stepfather was very sick a few years ago. He got excellent treatment from the VA. So I want to say that we know there are a lot of good people there, and it basically saved his life. He's had a great experience. But for millions of other veterans, as you've said, they can't even get an appointment. You know, the Inspector General's report finds all kinds of things that applications that were listed as pending last year, half of them don't even have application dates. Investigators couldn't reliably determine how many records were associated with actual applications. We've heard stories of applications and letters simply being shredded, never going anywhere. The VA admits that the enrollment system is flawed. It's confusing, and even when it works, it needs a significant overhaul. So how does that problem begin to be addressed in a concrete, real way?
Well, there has to be accountability, and that's the thing that we've said from the very beginning. People have to understand that there are consequences to the decisions that they make. If they choose to delete some 10,000 applications, that person needs to be fired. If they misplace 40,000 applications, that person needs to be fired. Right now, the VA is very reticent to fire anybody. We've passed a bill now in the House. We're calling the Senate to take it up as soon as we get back. Pass this bill to make it easier for the Secretary to hold people accountable. The Secretary is trying, but it is, again, the same song, different verse. We find it happens in every part of the agency, whether it's the Health Administration, the Benefits Administration. It doesn't matter where it is. There are systemic problems out there that have to be corrected.
Is there an unwillingness to try to fire these people? I mean, I know that there are often appeals and there are formalities and administrative procedures that have to be followed. I mean, you can't just override those, but I know that there's some effort. You mentioned this new bill at cutting red tape, but I know you already passed something that was about being able to fire certain people. I know what's critical to this process for you, too, has been a number of whistleblowers who have risked their own careers and more, trying to come forward and tell you that they've tried to reform within the system. How critical have whistleblowers been to giving you a fuller picture of what's really happening?
Whistleblowers have been very important. In fact, they have been part of the solution. When we were trying to bring oversight and accountability to the department, we had whistleblowers coming to us, and the department kept pushing them down, and in some cases they had retribution brought against them. Scott Davis in Atlanta is the person that was a very credible witness at a hearing that we held early last year that said this problem existed. VA wouldn't pay any attention to him, so we asked the Inspector General to get involved, and lo and behold, everything he was saying was true and more.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we thank you for your time. We want to stay on this when you're back here in D.C. and introduce this new measure. Please come back and let us know what's happening. I know all of our viewers and you are outraged by this, and people want answers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and the only way this is going to be changed is pressure.
All right, well, we'll keep it up here. We know you will, too. Thank you, sir.